Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious or you're lost. I'm Chatty, and welcome to my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, where I am going to be chatting away about everything I have read over this second week of December. I'm also going to be sort of updating you on how I'm doing with the readathons and whatever else I kind of fancy chatting about, really. So, first of all, I have my little gimmick. Because I don't edit on my channel, I just do it all in one shot, and what chaos happens. So this is still the first take, so fingers crossed that I don't have to reshoot this first bit, but so far seems so good. So cheers everybody, clink. Nice cup of air in the little tiny teacup, and then in the big cup I have got it smells so good, I have got vanilla chai latte. No, not a latte. It's a tea. Vanilla chai tea. There we go. I don't even know what I'm drinking. Anyway, it's Christmassy and it's good. And the coaster is stuck to the bottom. There we go. Exciting stuff. And it is a good temperature. Yeah, it's very, very drinkable. Nom nom. Okay, so the books I'm going to be talking about today are quite surprising because I was not intending to fully read this one yet. So I think last time I mentioned that I was going to sort of like read a chapter a day of I Capture the Castle by Jodie Smith. This is, I think it's like a modern classic, if that's how it's been referred to now. It was written in the 1950s. And it is the first book in the FOMO book club that is being run by Jack from Spread Book Joy, Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, and Jem from Gem of Books. And they have their live show for this one coming up very soon. It's going to be on the 30th of December. So actually I'm delighted that I did actually end up reading this. So basically I started reading a few chapters and then I just kind of really got sucked in. So it's very much a character-based story, and I love all of that stuff. If the characters hook me, if I'm invested in their story, I can very happily read about their day-to-day lives. Like, I don't need crazy stuff happening. I'm just very much kind of here for how they are surviving in this moment. So we have a family living in an old castle who are very, very poor, with a very eccentric father, and to an extent stepmother as well. We have young adults. We have I think she's 20 and a 17-year-old girl who is our narrator, called Cassandra, and her older sister is Rose, and then their son Thomas, I think, I would say around 15, 14 maybe. And then they're kind of like foster child who is, but sort of like servant foster child. It's a bit strange. But anyway, so that's kind of like all their family, and then like pets, and they literally have no money. Like there's pretty much nothing there. So just hearing them getting excited about some butter on toast and like the luxury of a hot cocoa, it just makes you feel the joy of that butter on toast and the hot cocoa. But I enjoyed all of that. I enjoyed the narrator a lot. Like, she's writing in her diary. She's just, you know, making the best of her life, just getting on with her thing and just enjoying what she can, unlike her older sister. And I was just kind of sucked into this family and their world, and, you know, how they're going to get out of poverty, basically, and what prospects the children have, if any. And I just was really kind of sucked into that world. And some new characters kind of thrown into the picture that adds kind of more tension to the piece. And then it kind of goes from there, but it is so character based. And yet I just kind of couldn't stop reading. I think I'd read like the first part, and then I read a bit into the second, and I just couldn't stop reading it. I kind of just wanted to know where the story went, and how their lives resolved. So I really wasn't intending to kind of like just devour the book, but I did. So there we go. And I did really enjoy it. Like, the writing was fabulous. I definitely think I need to read more of her books because I really, really enjoyed the writing. It just really pulled me in. I loved all the details. and I enjoyed the characters and the journeys they went on, and I definitely think this is going to be. I have never heard of anyone kind of studying this in like school, but I could definitely see it being one of these books you study, because there's lots of kind of like themes within this. And yeah, I don't feel that I'm the type of person who would necessarily pick up on them, but there's definitely a lot kind of around, I suppose, kind of like first impressions, different relationships, unrequited love, and then like class and poverty and art, and yeah, there's a lot of things kind of are happening in here in terms of thematic things. And I'm really looking forward to the book club to see how everyone else felt about it, and kind of what is pulled out of that on the live discussions and in the chat. I really enjoyed the character Topaz. She's sort of, she's very much part of the family, but I'd say is more one of the main side characters. She is the stepmother of Cassandra, and I just really enjoyed her character. She's just like the opposite of fairy tale stepmoms. Like, she's just the sweetest. She's just so lovely. And not only is she, you know, trying to do her best for her stepchildren, but also just kind of, she just doesn't complain about where she is. She just tries to find her fun. Like, she embraces the nature. She embraces the quiet living. The only sad bit is like, she's just not appreciated by her husband. She just isn't appreciated. Like, there's just this scene where she is attempting to really put her children first in a way that kind of to the detriment of herself, but like, she's like, this isn't important, this isn't about me. But because it kind of affects the status of the husband, like the father of Cassandra, Rose and Thomas, he kind of is like, but you're like, this is you know, your physical beauty is kind of one of the only things I have going for me, let me enjoy it. And it's like, she's so much more than that. She's just like, appreciate the whole of her, appreciate that she's living in the wilderness and is just being fine with it, and that she's lovely, and that she's so supportive to all the children, and you know, she's just such a genuinely fabulous person, and she's just underappreciated. It makes me feel sad. All of that stuff does kind of come to a head, and like, you know, she has just a very sweet moment between her and Cassandra, where Cassandra shows her that she's appreciated, like, by the children. But yeah, justice for Topaz, I feel. Justice for Topaz. There is a lot of humour in here as well. Like, it's not like you're not rolling around on the ground laughing, but it's just like light-hearted, like fun. Just kind of normal family shenanigans. It kind of has that vibe actually of Anne of Green Gables, where like things that she wasn't expecting to happens. Like, you know, when she makes a cake and she makes it with the wrong ingredients and it tastes awful, and it's just like those sort of social faux pas. That's kind of like, you get kind of those things from this. So it's still that kind of like light-hearted everyday life stakes with like some like normal unfortunate social accidents, I suppose, which I really enjoyed. Another thing I found really interesting is when I finished the book, I was like, if this was made into a film, and especially if this was like picked up by, I don't know if it is a film actually, it could very well be a film, but I feel like there's a certain era where if this was picked up by Hollywood, they would absolutely change the main protagonist to be the older sister Rose. Like, her whole story screams like 1950s, 1960s Hollywood story. Like, all the stuff that happens to her would be that very kind of dramatic drama, comedy, romance. And it just feels like everything. It's just so like of that era. So you obviously see everything from Cassandra's eyes, so we don't always get like the full picture of everything that's going on. We just very much get hers. And in the book, I really love that, because she's kind of like more, in terms of the main plot of the story, she's kind of like viewing it slightly more on the sidelines. But as the reader, you very much kind of connect with her, because, you know, she's writing a journal. She's interested in literature and kind of the beauty in the world and more of like the arty kind of creative side. And she's just this girl that's just like, yeah, I live in a castle and walk around the beautiful English countryside. And she just kind of is the living embodiment of what the older sister is presumed to be by some of the characters. And I just really enjoy like Cassandra's just kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but very this, very this, you know, wandering around in a cotton dress with some flowers. Just enjoy, just, you know, she hasn't got a lot of money, but she's like, it's fine, this is my life. And I'm still going to enjoy like the countryside and the village. And yes, it might be nice to go other places and like explore things. But I'm going to try and do my best with what I've got. And I just appreciated that. So yeah, there's a lot of other characters. There's some parts that makes me feel sad for other characters. And I thought the way the book ended, I thought was very thematic. And it very much works in a, I don't know what the word is, but I suppose being self-reflective in a way. And just kind of like the character's growth and awareness. And it's not Hollywood, if that makes sense. There's a small part of you that's just like, I kind of want that, but I get it, and it's truthful, and yes. And there's still a part that, through a modern day lens, you're a bit like, if they did go there, could feel a bit awkward. It's like the novella of stuff maybe in like 5 years time, I think would be cool. But it also might not happen, so that would totally be fine. And I think that's a nice message to have, although it's very much kind of gives you the feeling of the end you kind of just sit with it and you're like, okay. And I think it's just like, you just kind of have to take it in. You just kind of have to sit there and like think back over the story and kind of take it all in as to kind of like, and then we end here and like, yes, okay, sure. And the way I'm sounding it sounds very meh, but it's not like that. I'm not using the right words here. I can't quite describe it, but it's like you just have to kind of sit and let the story wash over you and just have a few minutes with it. And I think it's definitely one of those that I'm just going to think back on. And it's not a very dramatic story. It's about people. It's about people being people and relationships between people. But that's what I love most in my books. Like whenever I talk most about fantasy books, it's the relationships between the characters that I'm just like, you know, all of the friendships, the siblings, the paternal and maternal, you know, as well as the romantic. Like it's all of that. I just enjoy reading about human relationships. It's great. So yeah, I did really enjoy this, and I'm really interested in the discussion. I think it's gonna be really good. So I really hope that the stars align and I can be there live for it. But we will see, because life is chaos and we never know. And I am actually going to talk about the bookmarks. I always want to talk about bookmarks. I totally forget to talk about them. Like last time, I was absolutely going to talk about them and absolutely never did. So the bookmark I chose for this book is, you can see it has got like a beautiful blue sky and like these spring daisies all on it. And it's this company called Bookish, Live Your Best Bookish Life. These were a birthday present, and I still have no idea to this day who actually bought them for me, because there was no note on it. And no one has said, did you like the bookmarks? And then on the back, there is a quote from Thomas Hardy, and it says, I am not going to think outside of now. Who knows what tomorrow has in store? And that just felt so apt for I Captured the Castle. So I really liked that my bookmark matched the book. And amazingly, so I don't even think I said that today is Saturday, Saturday the 19th of December. So it's a whole week since I last spoke to you, and I feel very impressed. I managed to read 2 books in a week. That's pretty cool, and neither of them middle grade. So yay! So the second book that I finished was Even the Darkest Stars. And this was a reread for me. I read it in February. It is a YA fantasy. It's a polar fantasy. So it is icy cold, and it gave me all of those wonderful seasonal vibes, which is exactly what I wanted. Especially because it has been so freezing here. We are in minus temperatures, which is, we don't always get those. We don't always get those in England. So it's very freezy. There is frost covering the ground. It's really sparkling and beautiful, but at the same time, bless everyone within this kind of heating crisis. Everyone is wearing blankets, loads of blankets, and huddling, and thankful that we have shelter to live in, because it is so cold. And especially reading this and hearing about them, like they are trekking to kind of get to this mountain, and they're in tents, and it's cold, and just hearing about all the stuff in the snow. And you know, they're melting snow for water and stuff, and it's just like so cold, so cold. But yeah, it was beautiful ambiance. What's the word? What? Atmosphere. There we go. Very atmospherical with all of the winteriness. And yeah, I again really enjoyed the characters in this. I found them a lot of fun. It was great to reread this, and I'm really excited to now finally finish off this duology and read the second book. Having reread it, I'm just like, I didn't know where I wanted to place it because of the way it kind of leaves the story, and you don't know how certain things are going to go. And I'm like, if they don't go a certain way, I'm going to feel cheated. But it definitely leaves on sort of like a cliffhanger in this. So I'm excited for the characters, the emotional point it left off, where the whole thing's going to go, what's going to happen. I'm very excited to see how that story kind of picks off and wraps up. And on the reread, I am more comfortable with it. I think because I knew what was happening this time, I could just enjoy the atmosphere in the book. And then when I read the final bit, I could properly be there then going, which is enjoyable. I don't think I said who this is by, but Even the Darkest Stars is by Heather Fawcett. And yeah, I enjoy her writing. Her protagonist is, again, one of those ones you can get behind. It can be sometimes a bit hit and miss, especially with YA fantasy, but I really enjoyed her. She knows what she wants. She has, I suppose, loyalties pulled in different directions, but generally, and she's trying to be self-reflective on, her skills are mountain climbing. Like, she's mountain climbing, exploring, navigating. She doesn't really have any like magic skills. She's not very good at magic. So it was really refreshing to hear about that. There's a lot of kind of descriptions of climbing and things in here, and kind of the journey and the quest that they go on. And she is very aware that she's trying to a certain extent, impress the royal explorer who's leading the journey. So for her career, the thing that she wants to do. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. You should go for it. Go seize your moment. But she's also kind of questioning, you know, her family and friendship loyalties, and like, is she being overly reckless? So I enjoyed all of that. And yeah, like I said, I'm keen to see where it goes. So I think even if it doesn't go where I'm hoping it goes, I still think, yes, I do really enjoy this book, because I wasn't sure this first time I read it, because it was thinking, because it was still raw, and I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be thinking. Did I read it wrong? Having read it again, I was like, no, I haven't read it wrong. This is correct, and I feel it will go that way. But even if it doesn't, this was very much an enjoyable story. It's a really fun adventure, and if you're someone that loves a good old atmospherical wintry vibe, you will enjoy this. And the bookmark for this one, I'm quite proud of this one. So as you can see on the front cover, we have mountains. It's all kind of like dark blues and light blues and snowiness, and our little character figure here with a lantern and her companion Ragtooth, all in the snowy mountains. And here I have the mountains of the Lake District. So there's a lake, the snow-topped mountains, and I thought that was very apt to have a bookmark with mountains on for the mountain climbing book. So that pleased me. Ooh. Oh, can't even get the book. There we go. Yes, so enjoyable week of reading. What are my plans for reading next? Well, let's have a look. I have got Once We Are Witches. Haven't got as far in this as I thought. I expected to finish this one and Even the Darkest Stars, and actually, because I knew I was never going to be able to catch up with Virginia and read Twice We Make Magic at the same time as her, I was like, I'm just going to take my time. And as I Captured the Castle kind of took over, Once We Were Witches kind of had a backseat, because I was also really enjoying the snowy vibes of Even the Darkest Stars, because it's so cold. And I was kind of going to read them both together, but I was like, actually no, I'm going to be focusing more on one story at a time, so I'm just going to read it one at a go. So this is the one I'm currently reading at the moment, Once We Were Witches. Again, it's another reread. It's a middle grade fantasy by Sarah Driver. We follow two sisters, Spell and Egg. This is Spell here, the younger one, and this is Egg, and they are in a school for wicked girls. And all they are told is that their mother is a murderer, and they have a lot to atone for. So you get this orphanage, mean school theme to start off with, trope to start off with, and I love all of that. It feels very much kind of like Oliver Twist, Jane Eyre, with the kind of the downtrodden children that are treated like scum, whereas they're not scum. And then stuff happens and they leave the school. That's all I'll say. And then they go to two other different places, and I love it. So really excited to be reading the story again. It's just such a comfort read, so I don't think it's going to take me that long to kind of like go through. And then I'm very excited to get to Twice We Make Magic. Slightly apprehensive because I know Vidania did not enjoy it as much as Once We Were Witches. So my expectations are lower, and I'm a bit scared. I hope it still works. I hope it's still good, because I love this book. I love this book. Now I've been promoting it and saying people need to read this. People really need to read this. Yes. So yeah, so that's definitely going to be reading that one. I had got Reaper at the Gates kind of put out as a possibility to pick up soon. I do really, really want to return to this world. But I think I do need to space out my YA fantasy. Just because it's very fast paced, tends to be in YA fantasy, lots of action, lots of stuff going on, which is great, but I do want kind of more character focus to kind of pick up in between. And the YA fantasy I'm kind of more keen for at the moment than this one is All the Wandering Light, which is the follow-up to Even the Darkest Stars. I feel like I want to read what happens next. I've done my reread, I'm ready. And again, we have this beautiful cover of the mountains and more of kind of like a sunrise, sunset kind of colours happening. So yes, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens to Kamzim. What's going to go down in this one? I'm really keen. So this, I think it's more likely that I'm going to be reading this one after Once We Were Witches. And my readathons. So yeah, Capture the Castle was never really going to be in a readathon. It was just kind of like I was going to read it alongside doing the readathon stuff. But because I've read it, it's like, well, on my TBR list, so I've read 4 books now, and on my Reindeer readathon list, that's 2 of them. On my holiday HAVOC-ATHON, just 1. And the magical readathon is fine because it's just so chilled out. You can just fit anything into anywhere. So I think I am going to have to kind of like put I Capture the Castle actually into the radio readathon. So let's look at, so Even the Darkest Stars. This is Comet. This is Comet because it's got a cosmic word, stars in the title. I have no other book that does this. This is definitely my Comet one. Comet has been read. Well done, Comet. I Capture the Castle. I think we can see here we've got some flowers. We've got sort of this very like light summery dress. This gives me springtime vibes. So I said I don't have a favourite season. I kind of went for spring with Shadowsea. I'm going to put this as spring. So this is going to be my Prancer now. I Capture the Castle is going to be Prancer. Shadowsea, which is over there. I'm not going to try and pull it out of the bookshelf. That is my Dasher because I finished a series. Just in case I don't finish Fool's Fate, which was my original one I put in there. Shadowsea is my Dasher. So I've done Dasher, Prancer and Comet. Yay! And I could fit the Golden Fool in there, but I'm not sure where they're going to fit in. So I'll hold back on that one for now and just work that one out a bit later. So yeah, so I've done 3 Reindeer Readathon prompts, so that's great. Golden Fool is my HAVOC-ATHON first prompt, read fantasy, or horror, or sci-fi, or thriller. Obviously fantasy. But I haven't read any of the other prompts yet. We'll see what happens. This was Reaper at the Gates is a prompt from HAVOC-ATHON. It's read a book by a BIPOC author. That's someone that is Black, Indigenous, or a person of colour. And Sabah Tahir is of, I think, is it Pakistan heritage? It doesn't say, but I think it's of Asian heritage, so that counts. And then ORILLIUM, that was it. Magical Readathon, the Lightfall mini Readathon. So chilled out. I will put my link for my thoughts on my TBR. It's this side. I've watched it. Oh no, it's this side. It's here. It's gonna be here. And it's. I'm reading fantasy. I haven't read another genre in here really that would work. So it's definitely fantasy. I'm staying in that Wallace's Wonderful Winter Wanimals shop, reading my fantasy. So I've read Even the Darkest Stars, which was a fantasy. If I somehow manage to finish this before Sunday, which is the last day, this would count as my second book, because there is a teeny tiny crow in gold perched on the O for Once We Were Witches. So that is a book with an animal on the cover. Done. And I suppose if I was to read something wintry, that would then be All the Wandering Light. But there's no way I'm going to read these in like 2 days, because there's stuff going on in the rest of my life. So yes, it won't happen. I'll be lucky if this happens. But I will be reading them next week. So yay, that's great. And there is another book that I have picked up and started that I'm going to share with you, that I'm sort of like, it took me a while to like fully get this book out, because I'm so excited by it and I'm just like anticipating it so much. And that is Wearing My Mother's Heart by SOPHIA THAKUR. This is a collection of poetry. It's only just been released. This was the one book that I had made an exception for in the Read What You Own challenge. It's in my rules. Read What You Own challenge, put it in there. Created by Ollie from Criminolly. Go check it out. I said I will not be buying any books except for this one, because I would have pre-ordered it, but I was waiting to get paid. I now have it. It is here. I physically have it in my hands. But it took me a while to like fully get it out. Like, I wasn't earning it, but I felt like I couldn't quite appreciate it yet, and I just keep getting distracted by it. Hold up, can't quite remember where I was, but yeah. So I've sort of been savouring this and just being totally excited by it. So first of all, look at the beauty of this cover. This cover was illustrated by Sabrina Khadija, and well done. It is gorgeous. It is so beautiful. I love all of these portraits of the 3 different generations of women. I love the colour palette. I love this kind of like Art Deco kind of pattern that's like been painted on. And then look at the back. We've got the picture of the women from the back. So we've got the grandma, we've got the mother, and then we have the daughter. And then on the back, you can just see the back of the grandma and the mother. Also, this book has got French flaps. So look, ta-da! You can't really see it, but it's more of the Art Deco. So it's like yellow with these white kind of fans on it. And I just like that it's got them. And the same here. Just the same. Oh, and here's SOPHIA THAKUR. Here she is. Here is the genius that is SOPHIA THAKUR. So excited. So excited. So I have dipped in. I'm just dipping. I'm not fully reading, which doesn't make sense because technically I am reading it, but I'm not sitting down and reading it cover to cover. I'm just like reading a little bit and then putting it down and then just going, and reading maybe a bit more. But I need to talk to Kemi from Violet Pages, because she is my SOPHIA THAKUR fangirl as well. She found me from me talking about SOPHIA THAKUR, and we had a wonderful gush together, and I really love her channel, and so yes, SOPHIA THAKUR brought us together, so thank you very much, SOPHIA THAKUR. So I do really want to sort of buddy read this a bit with Kemi. I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but I really want to talk to her about it because I'm so excited. I have started, so like I said, I've been dipping in and out. So we just have this introduction, and that kind of gives you like the theme of this poetry collection, and it's all about the strong females in her family. So both her grandmas and her mum and her, and how she is the person she became through things that they taught her, and also like it's a different world, different opinions on things, but the love is still there and really strong. So I felt really emotional just reading the introduction. Okay, it was just like, there's a lot in there. And then just reading the poems. It's starting off at the moment, we're kind of getting poems inspired by her grandmas, and it's just really exciting. So yeah, I'm sort of dipping in and out of this, but I'm also I've kind of hidden it from myself because I think I could just easily just sit down and devour it all, but I don't want it all to be over, so I'm kind of like hiding it. So I didn't earn this. This was very much I want to buy this book and I'm buying it for me. Like, I don't always do that. I usually put them to earn, but I'm like, this I need. It needs me and I need it, and I'm having it basically. But I'm keeping it under the bed anyway, just to kind of like stop me from reading it. So it's like, because if I have it and see it, I'm just going to want to keep picking it up. And I think I just want to fully appreciate it. So I don't know. But I'm so excited. I just wanted to share it with you. So yay! Excitement! Again, appreciate the beauty of this book. And if you have not read Sophia Thakur, I highly recommend her poetry. Even if you're not someone that likes poetry, like, I'll put the Sophia Thakur links on here, which is her reading her poems. And she is genius. She's a performance poet. She's amazing. And just go and check them out. And if you listen to those and it's not for you, fine. We're all different. But if you listen to those and you're like, oh, I love her, buy her books. Buy her poetry collections. Go to the library. Get them now. Mwah. Mwah. Chef's kiss in all its glory. Yes. So, there we go. That is my little wrap up for this week. How are you all doing? Are you having a wonderful December? Is it crazy where you are? Is it cold? Are you reading some good stuff to keep you warm and stress-free? I hope you're having a wonderful warm season. And as always, happy reading, everyone. Bye.